Hey everyone, this is David Brown with the migration update for May 14th, 2023 from the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch. Kim and I started the day at the Salmon Creek Nature Preserve. We got there around 6:30 and it was a bit chilly today. There was a moderate northerly wind in the morning and definitely a day to get your jackets back out. There wasn't too much overnight migration with those unfavorable winds, but we still had a nice walk around. Here's a couple of tree swallows, and this is a family-friendly channel, so I won't show you what happened next, but it's that time of year. Here we have 2 male wood ducks out of a group of 6 that were circling around. It's a nice area for grassland birds, so we had a couple of savanna sparrows perch up nicely for us. Notice that savanna sparrows are streaky sparrows with a dot, kind of like song sparrows, but notice that the streaking is a little bit thinner, and savannas have a really thin bill. And also look for that little bit of yellow here in front of and above the eye. And you can compare it to this song sparrow that's perched up on a sign. We wrapped up that morning walk a bit early and we're looking for somewhere else to go, so we made a brief stop at Manitou Beach Preserve. But there were a couple other people there who had been all the way out the West Spit and said there just weren't many birds around. Plus there was a field trip on the way, so we decided to not stick around since there's limited parking there. We got over to Braddock Bay Park with enough time to do a bit of a morning walk around the outside of the park and over to the marina. And then for the Hawk Watch, the winds were that moderate northerly wind in the morning, quite chilly, but those winds weakened throughout the day. And by the afternoon, there was just a light and variable wind, and it actually felt quite warm. One of the highlights of the morning walk was this black Burnian warbler. You can see that bright orange throat. These are one of the most spectacular warblers that we see this time of year. And here's a male bobolink perched up in the field next to the field that has the Hawk Watch platform. And bobolinks are a kind of blackbird, and they have this really cool sort of Nilla wafer colored ping pong ball cap on the back of their head. And here's the real star of the day. This is a clay colored sparrow, which is somewhat similar to chipping sparrow, but this is much more rare. In fact, I've only seen a couple in my life. So I actually heard this bird initially when I was walking back to my car to get some more equipment. And they have kind of a really low, raspy song that they do. And I heard it sing and thought that's what it was. And I heard it sing again. And I walked over and tried to find it, and I couldn't find it. Then about a half hour later, up on the platform, I heard it sing again, and it flew in and landed in a tree in front of the Hawk Watch, and then it came back and landed right beside the Hawk Watch platform. So I got these photos while up on the platform shooting down, just only, 15 feet away from the bird. So just a really, really cool bird in perfect morning light. Let me get really good photos. Unfortunately, it didn't really stick around. A dog walker came through and the bird flushed into the shrubs, and we figured it would come back out, but we never saw it again the rest of the day. So I don't know if it's still around the park or not, but just a really cool bird to get today. And it's the first one I've ever had up in this area. So really special bird for me. Here we have a cliff swallow, which is one of the less common swallow species that we see in the area. They have this distinctive orange rump. They also have a white forehead, and their face is sort of a dark reddish color. Now there's a similar species called cave swallow that's much more rare in this area. And in fact, maybe November is the most common time to see them, when you wouldn't really expect other swallow species to be around. But they look very similar to this, but they have a different colored forehead and their face is a bit of a lighter color. So this is a cliff swallow. And here's in the underside of the same cliff swallow. And again, you can see that white forehead and the dark red face. Here's a very grumpy looking American robin. And that's about what I felt like and looked like when I woke up this morning from just a lack of sleep the past few days. Here's a turkey vulture, and we had a bit of a small turkey vulture flight today, only about 100 total, and about 35 of those came up at around 8:30 this morning. It was fairly windy, and this whole big group of vultures came up and went by, but the rest of the day was just kind of a slow trickle, a few here and a few there. And of course, the ones who wandered too close got chased by the local Cooper's hawk. And someone on Facebook commented and asked if this was typical behavior for Cooper's hawks, and My response was that I don't know, but if I were that concerned about turkey vultures, I wouldn't build my nest directly under a flyway where we get 30,000 of them every spring. And here's one more look at a turkey vulture. There are many flowering trees right by the parking area, and they seem to be filled with Tennessee warblers the past few days. Here we have a bank swallow, our smallest swallow that we see. They're brown on top, and underneath they're mostly white. They have a brown breast band. They also have a white throat that doesn't really show in this photo because of the angle. And the local Cooper's hawk has to feed his family, so here it is returning to the nest with some prey. It appears to be some sort of baby bird. And it was a bit of a slow day at the Hawk Watch, so throughout the morning we spent some time quizzing each other on warbler songs, and in the afternoon we did some bird trivia. But we didn't give up on the count, and I can assure you that I was answering questions while diligently scanning. And one visitor even started blowing bubbles to test the direction of the wind. But it wasn't just any visitor. Here, along with me and Kim, is Brandon Brogel, who is the counter from the Derby Hill Hawk Watch, which is over in Mexico, New York. So he decided to take a trip over and visit us here at Braddock Bay. And sometimes we joke about Derby Hill being the rivals of Braddock Bay, since we're the two big hawk watches up here on the lake shore. But we have a lot of fun hawk watching with Brandon. Met him at Cape May back in the fall and visited him at the Wagoner's Gap Hawk Watch. Did a trip up to Hawk Mountain with him. So really nice to see Brandon today. Me and Kim probably won't have the chance to go visit him at Derby Hill, so it was nice that he was able to make it over to Braddock. Great guy and a great hawk watcher. And at the end of the day, we had this nice flyby by a green heron. Taking a look at the eBird checklist, we had 37 species in the morning at Salmon Creek Nature Preserve. I just put in a partial checklist from Manitou Beach Preserve because it was pretty lousy and I didn't want to have to focus that hard. From our morning walk around Braddock Bay Park, we had 44 species. And for the Hawk Watch today, we had 59 species. Taking a look at the HawkCount report for our migrant raptor totals, today we had 102 turkey vultures, 1 bald eagle, and 1 American kestrel, for a total of 104 migrants. That brings the May total to 8,428, and the season total to 45,253. The only new species for the season today was clay-colored sparrow. And taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow, it's looking sunny with a high in the low 70s, winds west at 10 to 20 miles per hour, and maybe even slightly more favorable in the early morning. It's a good wind direction, and I would expect moderate migration, but with those blue skies, it could be tough spotting. For Tuesday, it's looking sunny with a few afternoon clouds, high in the mid-70s, and winds west-southwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour, so slightly more favorable direction, but also slightly stronger. Would expect moderate, maybe good migration. We'll keep an eye on that in tomorrow's update. And for Wednesday, it's looking sunny with a high of only 52, so quite a bit cooler. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour, so with those strong northerly winds, I would only expect light migration. And I also put a note to keep an eye on Friday because as of right now, the forecast is saying sunny with good southerly winds. And this time of year, of course, everyone's hoping for a Mississippi kite. So Friday is looking like kite weather as of right now. We'll keep an eye on it as we get closer. All right, another great day of birding. Even though it was a little bit slow in the morning, the clay-colored sparrow brought a lot of excitement. And then even though the Hawk Watch was a bit slow, there were a lot of great visitors to chat with, and it was nice seeing Brandon from Derby Hill. The next couple days are looking better, and hopefully we have some good days this week for not only the warbler migration, but also for raptor migration. So hope to see you out in the field or at the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch platform soon. From Lake O'Birds, this is David Brown. Thanks for watching.